Hi everyone, my name is Nanda Araújo. Welcome to Conversation with Within. Today my guest is Adriana Castro-Convers. She's a psychologist and she's a beautiful, a gifted person as well. We are going to have a beautiful and a blessed conversation right now. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Always well, always well. Thank you so much for taking the time today and come here and share a little bit about your journey in this your spiritual journey in this incarnation. I'd like to start, Adriana, now, going to your past now. What type of belief that you were raised, that you grew up?
I'll start off by saying my parents are both from Colombia, South America. They
Yes.
immigrated in the 70s. And along with them, they brought some very traditional Christian beliefs, specifically evangelical Christianity. And my mom was the first one to kind of convert to evangelical Christianity. And so, as a young child, I attended church with my mom. And the evangelical church, they do a traditional altar call where, after the sermon, they will invite people to come to the altar if they feel called by the Spirit to accept Christ as their personal Savior. Around the age of 7, standing by my mom during that altar call, I felt called by the Holy Spirit, because that is, the way in which they believe their people are called to be saved. And I turned to my mom and I said, I want to go up to the altar and accept Christ. And my mom was shocked that I, at that age, would be moved to accept Christ. And so that was the beginning of my spiritual journey. What I would say beyond that point, shortly thereafter, maybe a year or two, my father then also converted. And so we became a very traditional, born again evangelical family. And by that, I mean we would go to church Sunday morning, Sunday evening, Wednesdays, we would go to Bible study. My parents became very active in the evangelical church, and we were Baptist. I was raised in Miami, Florida. So we would go to the church. My parents were all Spanish speaking, so we would go to a Spanish speaking Baptist church, and that was part of our everyday life, or part of our community, and that is how I grew up. Um, Along the way, I will say what informed my upbringing was a realization early on that I was different from all the kids. And that had a huge impact on how I understood God at that early age. And what I mean by that is that, along with my, accepting Christ as my personal savior, I also had this understanding of myself as what I soon understood to be like a gay individual as well, that I had same sex attraction. So at this point, what I will say to you, Nando, so that the viewers will understand, is that I am a transgender woman. So at the time, I was presenting differently. I was, someone who was identified as male at birth, because I feel that I was never a male, but that is how I was identified at birth. And so, I was coming to terms with feelings about myself that seemed to contradict what I really early on understood to not align with the doctrine of that kind of particular belief system. And so I, really struggled. I struggled. Um, and then also with that, not only did I like struggle with this attraction that didn't match the religious doctrine, but then I also started to have some early awareness, that I somehow didn't belong in the body that I was born in. Um, and I will say that it was kind of like, now when I think about it, it's like, wow, did this young child really struggle with like uh, gender and sexual attraction, and then concurrently this, you know, excitement over like spirit and God, and going to church and singing hymns and hearing like the minister talk about God, and such a beautiful understanding of God and Holy Spirit and all these things. And then feeling really, really tortured by some of the messages that I would hear from the minister saying, according to this verse, the man that lies with man is an abomination. And so I honestly felt quite traumatized by a lot of the messages that I would hear coming from a minister that I actually respected, and questioning, well, what does that mean about me? And I will say that what that led to was a lot of like pain and struggling, and also hiding, hiding, secret, you know, keeping things to myself, um, suffering, questioning, and really having no one to turn to but uh, prayer, uh, a relationship, establishing a relationship from early on to this understanding of like, who am I to this source, to this God, um, and really just kind of also having a sense that everything was going to be okay, because what I will say, Nando, is that when I answered the altar call, there was also a clarity that that was aligned with like my life purpose. Like it gave me meaning. So I guess I just had to hang in there. And I will say that that was the driving theme of my life, because
May I say something to you? Didn't mean to interrupt. May I say something to you, Adriana? What came to me, I got goosebumps all over my body here. It just now, even I'm emotional to listen to you because I've been feeling on me that you are connecting on me with your past. I can feel the energies. But what came to me that when you felt called to go to the altar and receive Christ as your Savior, what came to me say, Jesus, God say, I accept you just the way you are.
Mhm, mhm,
You know what I mean? Because God knows who we are. You know what I mean?
mhm.
So that's what they came to me. I don't know if you remember or if you felt something that day at the moment, but that's what they came to ask me to say to you. We accept you just the way you are. So I'll let you continue.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But you know what I will say is that that was not so present until later on.
And
And so I developed the mental maturity and clarity to understand how I was. What's interesting is the altar call song was just as I am. Do you see
see,
that? So so it wasn't until even meditating this morning and writing down some thoughts about our conversation today, I was like, Audrey, do you realize that the song was just as I am?
see, there we go. It's a confirmation.
Yes, yes. So, but you know, in the mind of a 7, 10, 12,
Yeah,
15 year
yeah.
old going through the agony of, you know, understanding the self, and hearing the minister that I admired saying, no, you know, but no one really knew. Um, and and then, you know, going through also just this parallel agony and angst around gender, which, by the way, I at the time didn't even understand that it was anything related to being trans. I just thought that I was peculiar or different, and then I would get teased because I sounded like my mom, I looked like my mom, I looked feminine, and then that made me even like much more different. You know, that I couldn't even fake being different. You know, I could pretend. There was no pretending. Um, and part of the reason why I mentioned my parents and their background is that um, they are they are very loving. They gave me a very secure, loving home. In addition to that, they were very much aware of this. I'm the oldest, so they corrected me a lot. They redirected me a lot. My father was very aware of this boy who wasn't a boy. So, they took me to Christian counselors, they took me to psychologists. Um, and my father recently just, you know, confirmed all of this. And, he said, we did the best that we could with you. We didn't know,
No,
we,
they didn't know. They didn't know better. No,
yeah.
no.
And, but, what they saw, they felt it made them uncomfortable. They didn't see the beauty the beauty in who I was back then. I mean, they saw a
Mm.
precious child, but they were scared, and I absorbed all of that. I thought what I was presenting to the world was somehow bad or wrong. Um, but specific to who I am now spiritually, what I will say is that as I absorbed some of the challenges and the anxiety of other people telling me how I I was, the only place that I really had to turn to was God, Holy Spirit, um, and and this confirmation in many ways that don't worry about it, you're going to be fine, you're okay, I love you. Those were the messages that I would get. And Nando, now I remember that was the voice of the divine talking to me.
Yeah,
I
I'm
didn't,
getting emotional. This
yeah,
this is so true, my friend. So true.
yeah. But I didn't have I didn't I didn't know how to piece that together, because I felt like I didn't have a seat at the table as a Christian, because I felt like, oh no, I can't possibly be Christian because I have to only people who behave and think a certain way are true Christians. So who am I and what am I? Really, what am I? Is what I would say. I would ask myself. What I'd like to kind of throw in here, um, is specific to the spiritual gifts that I now have. Not that I now have, but that I've now realized and come to recognize in myself is, around the age of 12 or 13, I approached my mom. I remember clearly, like it happened yesterday, because there was something in my heart that was unsettled. And I went and I said, Mommy, I feel like something's missing in my life. I feel like I'm the oldest, and there's 6 years between me and my brother, 8 years between my sister and I. And I felt like, Mom, something's missing, like a brother or a sister. What can you tell me why do I feel this way? And she looked at me, she's like, oh honey, I don't know that I would have ever told you this, but I feel like if you're coming to me with this, then maybe I should tell you. She said, but a year and a half after you were born, I had a miscarriage. And then, a, you know, months later or a year later, I had a second miscarriage. And then she told me the story of how that happened. And Nando, uh, she said, this picture that you that you love so much of the two of us. I'm sitting on the couch, and I'm holding you. She said, honey, that was what right when I came back from the hospital from having the miscarriage, and I started weeping. And to this day, I have that picture, and from time to time, I'll post it on Facebook, for Mother's Day. Um, but what's interesting is that I was able to intuit something, and she confirmed it. But for many years, I buried that memory.
Mhm.
But to me, it's like I had this capacity to know something that was beyond anybody telling me that I knew something. That I knew. And I think back to other situations in my life where I've known without anybody telling me, um, and um, and part of the belief of the evangelical Christian is that when you receive Christ, when you get baptized, we are endowed with the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit then gives us spiritual gifts. And technically, I'm supposed to receive these spiritual gifts. Some of them could be prophesying, prophecy, the gift of prophecy, of discernment, of wisdom, all these things. And Nando, the reality is that if I had been nurtured in within the community that I was born again in, if they had truly embraced me, they would have been like, you have these spiritual gifts. Let's talk about it, because they would have recognized that. But because, in my humble opinion, because they saw someone who was a little bit different or very different, I get the sense that that wasn't something that was nurtured in me, because I believe that I would have done great things for that community if they would have embraced me rather than been like, but I think nonetheless that the Holy Spirit, the Spirit, the Divine had other things in plan, in
Yeah.
store for me.
May I say something to you? Listen
Absolutely,
to you.
please.
Listen to you. What that came to me, that you. I believe you heard this before. Now we before incarnating here, we we choose, our parents, so many other things now. But
Mm-hmm.
one of those reasons you came to the family, to your father, to your mother, for the type of beliefs they have to today, the reason it's happening so much, for so many years, for so long, is to help people to understand that we are the same. We are one. God loves everyone the same way. So they is this is something because it's been happening in your family, trees now for generations to generations to generations, to it's not the first time, what I mean, in your family that someone's born, like you. It happened before in their lives, but once again, it was a lot of rejections back then. But then they gotta continue keeping on come back and again. Can be you. Maybe I don't know how many lives you lived before that you tried to be who you are today. Do you understand what I'm saying? But there is this these incarnations come, in people's with different beliefs. It's not to change the beliefs now. It's not punishment for God, not at all. It's just to help them, to opening and open, their eyes, open their hearts, and to try to understand something. I'm not talking about anyone's beliefs or religion, what people preach out there, or respect or whatever. But I'm trying to say that's the way God has to show we are the one. Are you going to love her just the way she is, or you are going to reject her?
Yeah, yeah,
So that's a lesson someone's that to go through. That's something everyone's that need to go through. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah.
And but that's what they came to me. That's what I like to explain to people. Because some people sometimes, oh, this is some kind of even some people with strong beliefs now think this is some kind of type of punishment from God to them
Yeah,
to have a child,
yeah.
they
Hmm.
born as a boy, but has a male soul inside. It born as a woman has a male soul inside. They think it's a punishment for God for some reason, but it's not. And it's not about punishment. It's not about that. It's about to wait to God show we are all the same.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah. That resonates with me so much, because as I started to come to an understanding of who I was in terms of my sexual orientation, um, at the time, and now we're talking about age 17, living under the roof of my parents' roof, they, rightfully so, had the right to tell me what they wanted for me. You know, go to church, do this. I never had a problem going to church. I loved going to church. I always been a spiritual person, but they had expectations of me. And I felt that some of their expectations were very specific in terms of how they expected me to live my life, and eventually, like, you know, marry a woman and do certain things. And I intuitively, I knew that I could not continue living with them under their roof, and that I needed to go away. I needed to leave Florida and pursue my life on my own. And let me just tell you something, Nando. I think that if it had been a different life, and maybe in another life, in fact, I may have been the type of child who lived with their parent until I was old. I might have been one of the very clingy child, because I love my parents so much that one of the biggest decisions that I made was to, at the age, because I did community college, and then I stayed until the very end, until I could no longer stay. At the age of 21, I transferred from Miami to Boston, because I knew that I could not stay. It would be too oppressive for me to stay. And so I left with a lot of hurt and pain in my heart to go live my life independently. And I remember, you know, my mom saying, you know, I know this is what you need to do. And we cried, and I left, and I went to live my life, because I knew that I would eventually need to come out to live my life, and that I could only do that by moving away. And I, you know, for the first year, I would call home and I would cry, and my mom and I would cry, but it was the best decision that I made. um, and eventually, you know, eventually I came out at the time as a gay man, and I was able to, you know, meet somebody, and, you know, fall in love and all of those great things. And at that point, I did come out to my parents. And Nando, to your point about like parents feeling like this is a punishment, well, I think my parents struggled with that for many years. They felt like,
Yeah.
you know, what did we do wrong? You know,
Yes.
we raised this child in the ways of the Lord, and look at, you know, look at what has happened. And so a lot of the back and forth were these conversations like, oh, you know, like this is what the Bible says. How, but what they forgot was that I was raised that way. So I was prepared. I was like with spiritual scriptures, and I studied, and, you know, and I said, this is the way that I'm understanding the scripture, and this, they've been misinterpreted and you know, mistranslated. And so I don't think they were ready for that. They were not ready for me standing up to them. And eventually, you know, they understood their position, they stood in their position, and we were able to, you know, at least have peace. uh, and I, you know, I was able to have a loving relationship with a partner. um, and I was able to, you know, go into my doctoral program as a psychologist. And in the course of my graduating and starting to work with people, um, I came to understand something about the art of doing psychotherapy, which is uh, that when I do the work that I do even today. Now, I've been working as a psychologist now almost 30 years.
Wow, it's a long time. Wow,
And
that's good.
for there to be longevity in my work is a miracle in and of itself, because many of us in this work get burned out,
Yeah,
because it's hard work. People are like, oh, you just sit there and you just talk to
yeah,
people. No,
yeah.
it is, now I use the word energy. You know, it's an exchange of energy. um, but but what I realized is that it's the use of a spiritual gift. um, and I I mean, I understood it when I started doing it, that there was a, I was like, wow, like, I was like, I don't feel like it's even me. Like, I realized it the moment that I sat there, even as a trainee, I was like, I can do this. I was like, I can do this. This is so amazing. But then over the years, I had language that I was like, oh, like I feel like I'm channeling the Holy Spirit is like going right through me. And and then more recently, as I've kind of gone through these awakenings, because it's been more than one,
Yeah.
um, I was like, oh no, this is the real deal. Like this is like even channeled messages that I sometimes have to write down. I'm like, oh my goodness, this applies to me.
Yeah,
Um,
you are very gifted. I'd like to ask you one question, Adriana.
please,
So when you went to psychology, to college, and I studied, I believe because you so many things that you face now when you grow up. I mean, your family, you decide to walk away from your family, move to another state. So as a human, things inside the brain, inside the mind, and I mean, our thoughts, they things they can affect us, psychological, affect us some way, somehow, right? So, how, what's the reason that you chose to become a psychologist? Was for to understand, I mean, so more what happened to you, or to see more this way I feel that I can help more myself?
yeah,
What's the thoughts? How the school helping you being a psychologist help as well to balance yourself mentally. You know what I mean?
yeah, I appreciate the question. My belief, because I also um, work, I see a lot of psychologists, counselors in my practice. So I therapize those who are in the helping profession. And many of us are wounded warriors. Many of us have experienced trauma. Many of us are empaths. Not everybody, by the way, not everybody who does this work is an empath. Some people can get training to be a therapist, and they're not necessarily an empath. And by empath, I mean that somebody who actually is almost like you almost like energetically sit with somebody and can uh, empathize. You almost like take on the emotions of the person. Some people learn the skills and they know what to do, and then okay, thank you, you clock in, you clock out. But an empath is someone who's different, that there is an energy exchange. It is a gift. And so and what I've learned is that for me, this was as a result of the challenges that I faced, and that I recognized that the religious trauma that I experienced, the bullying that I experienced in school, um, the rejection that I experienced from my parents when I first came out. Because what I failed to say was that when I came out to them, we didn't speak for about a year and a half. I would send them, their Mother's Day card. I would send them, Christmas cards, but there was silence uh, for religious reasons. They were almost like shunning. They were like, we're gonna keep this person out, and God will reveal
Yeah.
themselves, and then they'll come back changed. And so that was traumatic. That was hurtful. And so I think as a result of some of and I had a fairly good upbringing. But what I will say, because I'm sure my parents will watch this, and I think it's important for them to understand that corporal punishment has an impact on a child. And I was disciplined, and there was corporal punishment. And religiously and culturally, people might justify that and say, oh no, no, that the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child. Oh, okay. But we know psychologically that it has an impact, and it can be traumatizing, and it's robust. And so and it can be it would take a lot of self-control for a parent to administer any kind of corporal punishment for it to not have an impact on a child. And I would say the only thing I will say about uh, with my parents is that there was one parent who administered it one way, and there was another parent who administered it a different way. And so I was on the receiving end of two different ways in which it was administered. And I think that there's, in terms of like intergenerational impact, I was traumatized by that, and so I felt like, yeah, I need to. I feel like I'm going to go into a field where if I can make a difference, uh, being a healer, I want to do that. Um, and little did I know that there was also a spiritual component to it, that I was called. I was
Yeah.
called. Um, as a matter of fact, Nando, um, psychology was always my minor. So my major was like business administration, and I had a minor in psychology. But the divine was like, no, 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 your little minor is going to be your major,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And not only that, but I'm going to also share something with you, that as I was coming back from an interview with somebody for my psychology of women's class, and she was driving me back to the train station in Boston. She turns to me and she's like, "What sign are you?" And at the time, I was like, I don't, born again Christian, whatever. And, I was like, I don't, I'm a Leo. She's like, Leo. She says, well, first of all, I'm a witch. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if you're receptive to it, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway. So I didn't even get to say yes or no. She's like, I'm going to tell you. She says, you're very intuitive. You absorb other people's pain. Sometimes you feel sad and you don't know why, but that's because you're absorbing other people's pain. And she said, you know what? I see you in the future doing this kind of work. And you're going to really, really, you're going to thrive. And this is going to be something big.
Got you.
I was like, at the time, this was my minor. So I had no dreams or aspirations or whatever. And she said, you're going to see. You're going to remember my words. And I was like, okay. And she said, and I think you're a little witchy too. And that's all she said. But honestly, in my mind,
Hello.
I don't know, whatever. She just drove, and I was like, I did my interview. I got an A, and but true to form, I dropped my major, that business administration, and I went down this path, and doors opened for me to go the path of psychology, and yeah, I mean, and what I was saying to you before you asked this question, which I think is amazing, is Nando, the in my master's program, they didn't like they barely trained us on how to do like interventions, how to sit with somebody. They gave us the basics, but in my internship, I was on this internship, and they were like, okay, now you're gonna sit with their client, and you're gonna do therapy. And I was like, well, no, I'm gonna like mentor you. I'm gonna like shadow you. He's like, no, 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 you're gonna sit. You're gonna do therapy now. And I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna do therapy now. They're like, yeah, and then you'll sit with me, and I'll like, well, you'll talk about it. And Nando, that first moment that I sat with somebody, and I was like, okay, so what brings you here? It was as if it was like, I, this is it. This is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life, because I was divinely guided. It
Yeah.
wasn't me. Right? So it was confirmation that that is the work that I would be doing 28 years later. And the rest is history.
This is beautiful. One thing that I like to share with you is just I have some few clients now. I talked to one. No, no, so I cannot give names or too many details. But anyway, so I'm gonna try to say, like you mentioned before, yeah, it doesn't matter what type of profession you are. Everyone has some kind of, everyone has some traumas, and everyone's going through something. But so many professions right now, therapists, psychologists, psychotherapists, psychiatrists, so many, if doctors, they go on and on. They are they wanted to learn more about spirituality, about energies.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been having some clients right now. They are coming to me. I had my last one. She's a psychotherapist, and but like I said, we cannot talk about what we talk. But it is amazing. I mean, when I start listening things, things that the spirits start showing me, and I ask to say to them, it's so beautiful. They cry. It just But what I'm trying to say, it's so important. For people right now, for this time that we live, into 2024, they're professionals. They are being taught. I say being taught, by God, by the universe, to
Mm-hmm.
open up a little bit more. You know what I mean? Don't just do what you learned in school. It's something more beyond this. When
Yeah.
you connect, with energies, you start see things, if few things from the person that no school can teach you,
Yeah. Yeah.
no college can teach you.
Absolutely.
This is something coming from
Oh yeah.
like the way you like to call it, comes from the divine to you. It can come to you since you the day you born. It can come to you, or it can come some few letters after in your life. But I'm trying to say it's so amazing nowadays. Even before I moved to this area, I used to live in another place. I used to have a class. He used to live in Florida. Now he's living in Tennessee, and he's a psychologist. And he used to love to come to me. He's always coming the end of the day to have a massage session with me. Then after that, we just sit together and talk maybe sometimes for 1, 2 hours or more. And I remember he used to say, Nando, I just love to talk to you. I just love to listen to you. All the things that, they are talking to you up there, you know what I mean? Because he was very gifted as well. He developed his own type of programmers technique to work. He's used to work in a VH hospital with with the veterans. And but because he was so gifted, you know what I mean, he's felt so much limitation the place he was working. You know what I mean, they kind of stopped him to do the things he was doing. He was help so many people. He decided to left. I'm gonna try to say that he was so open. He used to love to talk to me. He said, to learn about spirituality, to learn about how energy works now.
Yeah.
But like you are so connected for so long. You've been connected, but now your connection is totally different than before.
Yeah.
That connection that you have right now, it just for now more is gonna come to you. But it's so important because once again, the more I'm not saying we need to connect to spirituality. They asked me to say something here. I don't say people need to be, oh, I need to become a spiritual person to connect and with energies, to try to answer. No, you don't need to be a spiritual person. You just need to be open. And I ask now, I like to connect more, with within. I like to connect more with some different types of energies so I can understand and I help more people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I feel like
Don't
that's,
say
yeah, I feel like I said to you earlier, I've had a series of awakenings. Like, to me, uh, being a born again Christian was just the beginning. And by the way, I will say that I have not changed my faith. I'm aligned with that calling at the altar that I had when I was 7 or 8. That was the beginning. I think that the language that I use is changing. That is what is awakened. My eyes are open. That is what I associate with awakening. It's like, maybe um, because what I feel like modern day religion is, it boxes God, and God does is not to be boxed. That is what my understanding has changed over time, and we do a disservice to so many people when we think we understand God or the divine. And as so a lot of my what I've come to understand, the way God speaks to me has been through dreams, through also an understanding, like a knowingness. And so the ways in which, like the more traditional spiritual gifts, like wisdom and knowledge and discernment, but also like in the more esoteric or in these other, like am I uh, 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 have clairvoyance, or do I have claircognizance? Who cares about the language? But people have these gifts. People can tap into them, and so it's just a matter of like saying, "Hey, pay attention to what you have within yourself and acknowledge it and tap into that." And so, as a psychologist, for the last 20 whatever years that I've been working, we recognize as a field that as part of an assessment, we should be asking about spirituality. Do other professionals ask? Well, they should be. I do, because part of a healthy personality is a person tapping into spirit, whatever that
Yeah.
looks like for the person. And what I've noticed over the years of practice is if I am in any way effective, and my patients can tell you this, is we eventually we come back to, well, what is your relationship with spirit? What is your relationship with God? What does that look like for you? Have you turned that over? Because people eventually want answers from me, and I'm like, I'm not going to give you any answers. At the end of the day, we might try all these techniques, but you may have to surrender all of that, because people are
I
going to
love
fail. I'm going to fail you. But you turning it over to some power that is above you, above me, might actually yield some results. And so the awakening that I've had is like, yeah, all along when I've refused to, say, oh, you have to believe in Jesus, and because people are turned off to that. So if people don't want to hear about Jesus, then don't hear about Jesus. I'll talk to you about Jesus if you want to talk about Jesus, but what do you want to talk about? Nando, what do you want to talk about? So let's talk about what you believe in, because if that gets you closer to source or divine, or then we should have that conversation. And so people in my, the faith community that I grew up in would be like, no, we can't. No, then then that's demonic. That's wrong.
May I say something, Adriana? You know, I was talking to someone the other day about this. Now that since I separated from my son's mother and we went through divorce, it's been over 4.5 years. I asked them to help me, to stay to myself, to be with myself, to don't get involved with anyone, to work a lot with myself. And they help me. But what happened to me, what I decided to do the last now, I can say now 3 years, I disconnected myself for everyone else out there, all the beliefs. I'm not talking about Christian or Catholic, spiritual people. I mean, everyone. I disconnected myself for stop going to. I used to go to a metaphysical place before, close here. So I'm not going anywhere. What I'm trying to say, because I saw judgment in everywhere, in every belief system. I'm not gonna say this one, in every single belief system. I study some religion and I see judgment in every single one. It is something that inside myself, that I decide to work to myself, and I ask them to help me to work on me to judgment, to not judge myself, that I used to do a lot to myself, and I judge the other as well, that I used to do just like that all over and over again. When something good, my ego used to love me before so much, because before my ego was my spirit God, my ego was my God, my ego was my Jesus.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
I'm gonna try to say, because I was seeing so many things, the judgment on me, or sometimes they has opportunity to help someone, they don't help. It go on and on. I said, you know what? I'm going to disconnect myself for everyone,
Yeah.
for all the types of beliefs. I'm not going to go anywhere anymore. I don't say forever, but for the last close 3 years. But what happened at this time now, my connection with God now totally changed. And I was able to work with some things that before, for some reason, the way that I can explain, I believe it before, because I was going to those places. I was going to metaphysical places even before I went to Christian church. More than one. I felt for some reason that I was. sabotaging myself. Okay, that's the best word. Thank you. Sabotaging myself. So that's when I decided, no, I need to stay with myself, and I'm going to disconnect for everyone else. And I'm going to say, you got me. If you want me to maybe go somewhere or maybe to list someone, you got me. Right. So make a long story short, one of the first people they asked me to connect a few years ago was Dr. Wayne Dyer. Do you know him, Dr. Wayne Dyer?
Mm-hmm.
So he passed more than I believe not I believe now must be close several years old. He passed. He's amazing. He has a many books, wrote many books, talk about spirituality, talk about so many beautiful things. But they asked me to connect with him. I don't like to read books, but he has so many all books no YouTube. I start listening to him, so listen to him, for months and months, more than a year. And then after that, I kind of stopped for a while, and I continue work to myself. And 2 years ago, they came back to me and they said, Nando, I want you to connect now with Michael B. Beckwith. You know him, Michael B. Beckwith? He's from the movie, the Secret, the movie
Okay.
Secret. He
Mm-hmm.
has a metaphysical place in Los Angeles for over 40 years. And then I said, why you wanted me to connect? I know Michael for a long time, but I never watched any of his video, never listened to any one of his messages. And I said, no, the reason we want you to connect with Mike right now, because you are in the right frequency to understand his messages.
Mm-hmm.
And you are going to learn a lot with him.
Wow.
So then I did. So I went to YouTube, I started looking for some videos, and then I created a list of videos that saved. I have over 30 videos that are saved for him. And then for over 2 years now. So he has one of his videos that are probably I think between 30 or 40 times I watch the same video. And every time that I listen to the video, something else come. But I'm gonna try to say, like I said, I decided to stay to myself, disconnect myself for everyone, say, no, you got me. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, first was Dr. Wayne Dyer, then after that Michael came. For so now I'm just no listening to anyone specific. Now I have a lot of bunch of videos that are saved, and when I need I go there. But I'm gonna try to say was important for me to work with the judgment. You know what I mean? So because like I said before, I saw the judgment everywhere in every type of beliefs out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I said, I cannot be a part of anything they still judge someone, they still discriminate someone, or I see they can help someone, even they happened with me because I was going through something and I asked for some type of help, and they say, we cannot help you.
Yeah.
I said, I could have said, hey, you can help, you can do this, that. You have thousand people email address. You can send an email to them and I ask them, hey, I have someone here, is looking for a place to live, they don't have a place, we're going through this, blah, blah, blah. And I say, oh, okay, you cannot help me. So, but I saw the reason I went through those experiences, or I believe that God would say, you need to go through, because you need to see no one is perfect, another.
Yeah.
No beliefs out there is the one. It's
Yeah.
no spiritism, no Buddhism, no Jewish, no Catholic. No one is the real things. No one is the real truth. That's not the one thing they show. They say the truth. The truth. It was no, go back. It was a few, no, couple months ago. They give the message. The truth is about what resonates with you. Whatever resonates with you, become your truth. Become your beliefs now.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? But I had to disconnect myself for all those things. But like I said, the frequency that I'm connected right now is so beautiful. And the things that I'm talking here right now, and the things that I talk with my clients, it's very deep now. The message they come to me to say to them is very deep.
Yeah.
That's exactly Michael do. It's not too many people can listen Michael Beckwith and connect with his message because the thing his talk is very deep, But they prepare me. I went through all these years, and now I understand so much more than ever before.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, the judgment was my priority. So I have to disconnect from this judgment. I'm not there yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm learning.
Well.
You know what I mean? This is uh, uh, one thing that I always want to. for so long. Every time that I work someone, I always tell them, we are not going to change, your beliefs. We are not here to make you believe in the things that you are saying to you. And we are not going to say anything for you to do. We are only going to give it to you, suggest to you, and you are the one they're gonna make a decision. If it resonates with you, fine. If not, just let it go. But you are the one that have to make a decision. Something they many times sometimes they ask me to say our clients, they say your bathroom is very, very dirty. The universe is going to supply all the cleaning products, but you are the one that have to clean, to grab the cleaning products. You go there, clean the toilet, clean the shower, clean the sink, clean the floor. No one is going to do the job for you. You have to do your inner work, my friend.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, maybe go to you or come to me or go to any other beliefs out there. They want to say, oh, I want you to help me. I wanted this, I wanted that. So, oh, God's gonna help. Oh, you can say, I can help, but you have to do something, my friend. You have to do work with your do the inner work. It's
Yeah.
not a magical pill like you see in the Matrix. You have the red pill and the blue pill. What one is gonna take?
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
That's
not a magic pill. The magic pill is you make decision. I'm going to do the inner work.
yeah. Yeah, I think that in terms of like where you said that finding yourself spending time away from people, I especially over the last 5 months with this more recent journey that I've been on, I've had some heartbreak, some challenges, and I found that turning inward and turning to spirit. This has been probably the most impactful time in terms of my growth,
Yeah.
and it was due to heartbreak. And I will say that in as much as it was very difficult, I will say that it has led me to the biggest growth spiritually. So I have that to be thankful for. That something very amazing came out of something deeply painful,
I will
and
do the same. Yeah.
yeah, and so I would like to take the good that came from a challenging experience, and also remember the good from the experience. So not remember from any place of bitterness, and to forgive, and hope that there is forgiveness on that end as well towards me.
Yes.
And what I will say is that um, what I learned is that my ability to be discerning, to um, to tap into my intuition, Nando, was blocked. Like I could not see with the eyes through with the eyes of discernment that the divine had been granting me all along, to make better judgment, to use better judgment. And um, and then now when I look back, I'm like, wow, I don't ever want to do that again. I don't ever want to block my gift and gifts. But it had to happen because I now have like language, understanding, and like a whole different relationship with God and the Holy Spirit, and also these promises that have been made to me. That Nando, I even like the fact that you and I connected, the fact that I'm doing this, that I've posted TikToks, those have been like spirit saying, no, get up and do. Because I'm like, really? Am I doing get up and do? Because I've struggled with feeling like I belong or I have a seat at the spiritual table, and God has been like, no, you do, and I'm like, really? And like even like so my mom, when I had conversations with my mom, she has a designated spot where she sits and she prays and she reads the Bible, and sometimes if I call her at a specific time in the morning, I know where she's sitting. And for some reason, Nando, I never thought to have a spot for myself where I sit and pray and I read the Bible, and now I have that spot for myself. And I look forward to it and I meditate, and I haven't missed a day, and sometimes it's twice a day. And I meditate, and God speaks to me. And that's, when I have these downloads, or it's like, oh, like I get to tap into that. Oh my goodness. And God speaks to me, and yes, he speaks to me, and through visions, and through dreams. And yes, I me too, like I yes. And so then that's why I was like saying, like, all along, when I'm like with my patients, I'm like listening to, and sometimes the divine will say, no, 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 now you speak, now say something, now you. And I take risks sometimes with my patients. I'm like, why am I saying this? And then I say it, and then I'm like, oh, I hope they didn't get mad. I hope that, but no, it goes, it's fine. So, now I'm like, I have this realization, like, wow, like, yeah, I have been kissed by the divine, and I can feel the kiss, like I can feel it, and I'm so happy. I wake up
Mhm.
happy. I wake up happy.
I was listening to you, Adriana, and this came to me, I'm getting emotional because this we are so connected right now with the spirit. And the energy is so beautiful here. But when I was listening to you, and they constantly talking to me in a way, so they said, this is only a message that I'm going to give for whoever's listening. Is going to listen to this conversation. It doesn't matter what you believe. What they asked me to say was, no, just put everything that you believe now, whatever book that you connect everything there. I'm not talking about the Bible. I'm talking any book, whatever it is. Put everything away and say, I disconnect myself from all my beliefs right now. I disconnect myself for everything that I think is the truth. I disconnect myself for every single thing, every single person right now. And at this moment, I'm only I'm I'm only connect with God.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm going to connect only with God and God only, nothing more, nothing else. At this moment, I'm gonna do a brainwash on myself, and I'm gonna open up my crown chakra and put everything away, and I'm gonna connect with God. But it's just what they continue to talk to me, say it's not just for a moment, for a minute. It do maybe for a few hours or maybe for a few days. It disconnect for everything else and allow you connect for the first time in your life with source, because it's right there, and you see what's gonna happen. That's what they asked me to say. It does no. I was listening to you. They was talking to me at the same time. So I said, now I understand why that I have to stay, walk away for everything. For all the beliefs out there, I have to walk away for everything and
Yeah.
stay here because I was able to disconnect, open myself, put all the things, all my beliefs, books, everything's away, and say, no, I'm gonna open up myself to connect with God. It has this direct connection with God, and
Yeah.
receive something new. There
Yep.
we go. New. Connect with the present moment, not with the past. Not for something they've been saying here 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, someone said something that I'm still. No, I'm going to connect with the present. The present God, present moment. And I disconnect myself from the past and I disconnect myself from the future. And I connect in the present moment. Try this and you see what's going to happen,
Yeah.
because what you mentioned a few months ago, this experience that you had in your past, no longer time ago, that you went through so much sorrow, so much pain. I went through with my son's mother as well. I went through a depression, anxiety, to a lot of things, and I remember one day, Adriana, I was still. I forgave her, I forgave myself, but I still have some things inside of myself. I shared that more than one time with many people. And I was driving, and I asked God, I said, God, help me to see states with the eyes of love. Help me to love states the way you love eyes. As soon as I finished to ask, I start. tears that come down in my eyes, but it came as like a heavy rain. I have to pull over. I pull over in the highway, but the cry that I had was not a regular cry. It was painful, very painful. It's deep, deep. It's something like was deep inside me. It was coming up, me, out of my body. But it was deep inside of my heart, but it was coming out so slow. But the pain was crucial. I was crying. I don't know how long I was there crying, my friend. But I'm trying to say at the moment, I went through I can say I went through an awakening or to a shift. And then I was able to start seeing her with the eyes of love,
Yeah.
and I was able to love her the way God loved us. But I'm trying to say that I disconnect myself from every. Doesn't matter. I know how to do so many things now to not allow me feel any resentments or anger or regrets about myself or anything. I know how to do so many things. I help people to do so many things, but at that moment, what I did, I disconnected myself from everything, and I
Mm,
connect directly with God, and I ask. He came to me just like that.
yeah. Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Instead, oh no, I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do. Oh, I'm gonna listen the vision. Oh no, I'm gonna read the book. Oh no, I'm gonna go this place. Or I'm gonna go to the meditation group. You are controlling. You are controlling instead to just let it go, to surrender, like to say before, surrender and just connect just with God and nothing more, nothing less. It this happened to me more than one time, my friend.
I think
Mo-
the idea that I'm hearing you say is that it doesn't have to be so complicated. It can
No,
happen immediately, and it can happen in a way that feels comfortable and accessible to a person. And that's what I have found as well. For some people, it can involve a ritual, it can involve, you know, whatever, whatever makes them feel comfortable. But sometimes what I've heard, even, for people who like journal and do this and that, oh my God, I forgot to journal and then I give up. But no, it doesn't have to be that
no,
complicated. It can be a conversation when you're taking a walk. It could be, right this very moment, just saying something out loud or in your mind. It's accessible, and I think that that is, one of the things that in my early moments of pain over the breakup, um, was, like struggling with like what was the point of, like all of this. And then later on, as I started to grow and understand, was anguish over like, how do I make meaning out of difficulty. And and then now it's been about like, well, what is my purpose, how do I give back. And that is part of like the sense of like, oh yeah, well now you like talk, and like you have been given, you know um, a platform. There are many different ways in which you can contribute. You have an education, but you don't need to have a PhD like I do to have a conversation, to share your story. But it's interesting because I've never really thought of myself who would put myself out there to do it. But sometimes when you listen to what your inner voice is telling you and you pay attention, there are great things that can come of it. And I think the greatest thing is inner peace, because what I experience now is joy. I don't feel resentments. I don't feel anger. I don't hold
me
on to
either. Me
the past.
either.
And it makes me a much more effective therapist because I have seen, over the last 5 months or so, my patients make, like amazing progress in the work that we're doing together.
See?
And I also pray for them. I also meditate for them. I also say to the divine, put away my ego. This isn't about me doing this work now. Whatever is being done, like let it be done. Let this process unfold as it's supposed to, with me being the conduit, be me being the person who is simply just facilitating, growth for them. And I'm and also like, like I've never had to worry about like, um people coming to me, and especially over the last 2.5 years that I've been on my own. Like I used to work for a hospital. Now I'm completely in private practice, and I have been so blessed, and I wake up grateful for the stream of clients that come my way, and the divine has said, you have nothing to worry about. You have been taken care of, and you will continue to be taken care of. And now I'm like, yes, of course, I have been. I don't need to worry. And so I live, with this sense of prosperity, of joy, like I live it. So, that's why I'm like talking to you, and I feel so animated, and I was so excited. But in the past, I would have been scared. I would be like, oh my God, what am I going to say? I'm like, no, no, no.
Yeah,
It's going
yeah. No, this. I'd just like to say to everyone, I don't. Before she made a decision to come in here, talk, have this conversation with you guys. We talked for a while, and but I talked to her. Feel free to share whatever like to share. I said I'm not gonna ask any question. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna answer. I don't have any question. I didn't make any notes in here and look at my computer and say, "Oh, I'm gonna ask this." I say, "No." The reason the spirit asked me to create this channel and they give this name, "Conversation with Within," that's because whoever now feel God to come here to have this conversation, you'll be a conversation with within inside ourselves.
hmm
But the purpose that they asked me to create this channel is just to help people. You know what I mean? So I'm not looking here to promote myself, to make money or this or that. No, it is the purpose to help people. You know what I mean? Because our stories, the things that I share here about my personal life, and you know what I mean, whoever's talked to me as well, they can help people. Every time we share our stories, I'm not embarrassed anymore. Before when I was young, I went through to sex abuse, so many, physical abuse, so many things, and I remember when I was young, I make a promise to myself. I said, I'll never, ever, ever tell anyone what people did to me, what I went through. I'm gonna take that to my grave. No, I never, ever, ever gonna share with anyone. But now I'm not going to out there and telling people, "Oh, I went through this." Oh, no. But if I have to share any parts of my life from my past, to someone to help them to understand something, how I overcome, the situation, I'm not ashamed. I'm not embarrassed, because it's nothing for us to be ashamed
Yeah.
and nothing for us to be embarrassed about anything, about our past. It doesn't matter what we did, what someone did with the eyes. So now, like I said, I'm not ashamed. I can open myself and say, I was talking with someone last 2 weeks ago, and what I mean, and I said, yeah, I have a relationship with men in the past. I had this and that. Was the conversation? Something come out. I was talking about this. I'm not ashamed at all. I'm not worried about who's gonna say something about me. Whoever, anyone can say anything about me. I don't care what it is, or good or bad. It doesn't affect me anymore because I'm in peace with myself. I'm connecting me with God. I'm doing my best every single day to serve now, to continue learning, and to continue to grow
That's right.
every single day. So, like I said, people's opinions for me has no effect at all over me. You know what I mean? But the other thing that I like to share, because when you're talking about in the beginning, when you were young, day after the all the things that you went through, I remember, when I used to live in Brazil, when the AIDS come up, right? When the AIDS came in our planet, I have a friend of mine. He was very young. When he was diagnosed with AIDS, he was only 16 years old. By the age 17, he was pretty sick. But I remember back at the time. Normally I don't talk about religion. I don't say anything about religion, but I had to say so I can explain what I'm going to say. So religion back at the time, I say, oh, this is a God's ways of me to punish, because there is not supposed to man be with another man, woman be with another woman. It's a God's ways to punish. This punishment is coming from God. I remember I was so young, I was so young. I wasn't close to his age as well. I don't remember if I was 17 or 18. I was, well, very close, But I got so freaking angry, what I mean, with religion people, they always say those things, and I said, my God, this is not God punish anyone for anything. Things like this happen in this planet more than one time. We have a COVID a few years ago, and if
Yeah.
you look back in the human history, you're gonna see so many diseases popping in different countries, killing millions and millions of people. But I was so angry because he was such a beautiful soul. I remember, he used to look at me. My name is Fernando, so I go by Nando because that's where my mother used to call me. I say, he used to say, Fernando, you are the only one, they look at me, they hug me, you're not afraid to care anything for me. People back at the time, they think that just to be with someone, close to someone that has an age, you could have, it was contagious.
Yeah.
Back at that time, the discrimination was so huge back at that time when the AIDS come up in this planet. But I say, you hug me, and I used to kiss him in his lips. I said, I don't have a problem. I'm not worried about anything, my friend. And say, you are amazing. But then after that, he passed. But for me, back at that time was a very, very hard time in my life. And I say, how in the world you can discriminate someone like him? He never done anything wrong with anyone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, but I think, I just like to share this because we are in 2024. You still face, discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
We still face, discrimination. I face discrimination. I remember when I used to go to a church. That I love necklace. I love all this. Chris was a I have more than this. Sometimes I go to 5, 6, 7 necks, and I used to see people look at me. When I was walking, I see people look at me different because I was the only one. There's so many necklaces on my even on my legs everywhere. But I once again, I said, this is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to say discrimination is still there, a judgment is still there
Absolutely.
everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's time, it's time for us to stop it there. You stop say, and like we talked before, this is what I believe. Start teaching people, this is the truth. Working to help people, to understand that it's so important that God loves us just the way we are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. The persons that are in jail right now, they did horrible things in here outside. They're gonna spend the rest of their life in jail. God didn't see them as a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
God see them as a beautiful soul, as
Mm-hmm.
a perfect love being. We in the society is the one that discriminates, judge them.
Right.
Back I never read the Bible, but I went to a lot of church, and I heard so many people talk before. Why Jesus chose his disciples was a prostitute, was a criminal, was only bad people back at the time. So Jesus, how in the world you gonna choose him? He's gay. She's this. She's that. As a disciple, there is this. I never heard anyone in church say that, but there is a Jesus chosen those people because Jesus, I tell people, God, if you ask something to God, God doesn't say, "Oh, what's your social security number? Just give me a
Mm-hmm.
sec."
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
no, 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 no. Oh, last month. Oh, last year. Oh, no, no, I'm sorry. No, no, you gotta wait a little bit more, okay? uh, 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 you have to wait. You have no, no, no. God doesn't live. No, God, no, God lives in the present. It doesn't matter what you did in the past. You ask something, you want to connect it to God. You connect it to God. It's not judgment coming from God. That's Jesus is to see people this way. Jesus was able to see the good inside people's hearts. When the people say to me, "Oh, that person is a bad person," oh, I'm a bad person. Oh, I have a bad energy. So it's not a such things as a bad person. It's not a such things as a bad energies. The things that people don't they don't know how to control the thoughts inside their mind. And then society gonna be called them say, "Oh, you are a bad person because you did so. This is bad."
Mm-hmm.
But they don't know how to control when you the way that I work. I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist, or therapy. Well, I'm a massage therapist, that's different. But I help people to understand how energies works now, how to control the energies is come to us you don't allow the energies to affect the eyes. That's what I do. That's how I work to people. It's not the way you do. You work the energies as well, but you do something different that I don't even want to try to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist because it's not my thing. If I want, I have to go to school anyway. But it's so important for us, and I mean, to see people now. Like I tell people, see everyone, my friend. You want to work to judgment, see every single person. Doesn't matter who, with eyes of love. And love them the way God loves us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
This,
beautiful.
this goes to every single belief out there in this planet.
Hmm.
Do you want to stop with judge the others? You want to stop discriminate the others? See every single person is called, believes, see every single one with eyes of love. They love every single one the way God's love us. Try that. You see what's going to happen. Your judgment is going to go away. That's how you kill your ego. Because
Hmm.
every single person in this planet has an ego. Ever believes them. It doesn't matter what beliefs that you are connected. Every single one has an ego, my friend. Simply that I have mine. She has hers. Everyone has an ego. But
Hmm.
that's how our ego die slowly. That's
Hmm.
how you take power away from our ego. It's a deep inner work we need to do. You know.
Yeah.
But one thing, Adriana, relating on me to a transformational, because you, for me, you know what I mean, the only reason I know that you. No, I mean, if you don't, I don't like this word transgender, but that I know that because you said that to me. Because if not, I was just gonna think, you're a woman, you're born as a woman, because But I'm gonna try to say, but do you like to talk a little bit about, your transformational, the process, or if you feel like to open.
Well, what I will say about it is that um, it was as a result of my working, ironically enough, with the trans within there's a in Philadelphia. I was working some hours at the Mazzoni Center, which is a clinic, and now it's become a big clinic where they offer, trans affirming care, and they service the LGBT community. At the time, they were a smaller clinic, and I was doing fee for service psychotherapy as a side hustle for the work that I was doing at the hospital that I worked at in Philadelphia. And it was as a result of sitting there working with primarily LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and trans clients. And I was sitting there listening to some of my trans clients' stories. And then, so I was in my mid 30s, and I was like, my goodness. I was like, my goodness, those stories really, really sound like my story. My story. And then it dawned on me, oh my gosh, I'm trans. And then I thought back to when I was a kid wearing dresses and feeling happy wearing dresses, and then being told you have to, you're not a girl, and then being corrected and by my parents, and being bullied and being told I was a sissy. And then I remember when I was like 5, 10, 12, praying to God, please, bargaining with God, saying, please, I want to wake up and be a girl. All these conversations that I suppressed. Remember, the memories were suppressed. And then, so when we're talking about my 30s, like coming to this realization, but then I had a closet full of girls' clothing that once a year, now mind you, I'm sitting there with clients and I'm like remembering, oh yeah, I have a closet full of clothes that for once a year I dress for Halloween. I dress as a girl, and I go out with my then husband, and people are like, well, who are you supposed to be? Because they thought I was a girl, so like. But I didn't put two and two together, and I would go to drag shows and watch the drag queens, but in my mind I would be like, but that's their life, and that's not me. I could never in my life see myself being a woman because that's some other people's choice. That wasn't a choice for me because of the background the home life that I lived in. That was, I mean, it was like a big enough deal that I was wrestling with this thing about like, oh, I'm a gay guy. That's my life. Eventually, that's who I'm going to be. So in my 30s, married, you know, I felt safe enough to tell my then husband, I want you to know something about me. I'm really a transgender woman. And he's like, well, I was married to so the term is cis, a biological woman. The term is cis woman. And so, as long as you don't go through with any procedures, you can dress, we can go out, you can live your life and identify as trans, and we can continue our relationship. And so for a few years more, I kind of, but the identity part was like a realization. So I told my coworkers, I told some of my friends and some of my relatives, and I told them I'm trans. And for many years after, it was okay to kind of tell people, dress, go out, and live kind of a double life, as like, in the daytime and work, they would see me one way, and then at night, or when I would over the weekends or whatever I wanted to, and I started buying clothes and stuff like that. And while I was married, while I was happy in the relationship, it was fine. Um, but I think again, I think there was a divine intervention, because I started to see that I was unhappy in that marriage. And there came a moment where it was a divine intervention. I saw things for the way they were, and then there was a point of no return. Like I in my heart, I knew I was no longer going to be in that relationship. And my former self spiritually took a back seat. And then who I am today, that energy was the one that stepped forward. And I was like, no. And I'm gonna figure it out, but I am no longer that person, and I am who I am. And that led to me, saying to uh, my ex-husband, we are no longer going to be together, and you're going to need to tell people that, part of the reason is because you, you're you're married to a woman and you're gay, and we're not a relationship. We're not a viable relationship. So in terms of like what contributes to many of us, uh, you know, go through awakenings. Like I went through this dark, you know,
Yeah.
time, and but and then I met the person that I was with for a while, and he helped with like the stages of my journey, in terms of name change, and the steps that I needed to take to feel authentically myself.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go into that, but you know, there were some steps, and but Nando, what I will say again, this is how the universe works. He took me till as far as he could, and then he couldn't go any further because we were no longer compatible, and it had a very uh, traumatic ending for the two of us, and painful. And this is where forgiveness and like talk about being taught how to forgive, because these two men are still part of my life. I love them, but it took time to learn how to forgive. And um, and then shortly after that tragic ending, I met another person who was like, in terms of where I'm at spiritually, I had a very brief time with this person, and I was given like a short little glimmer of what love is, and that person was removed from my life through death, and and that's where I started to connect with spirit, because like the essence of who he is remained after he died. Like I was connected to him, and that's where I think, talk about like spiritual connection, like it was revealed to me that I had that spiritual gift because I could still connect with him, and I was like, there's something going on, like like I you know so yeah, my journey, I think, with spirituality and my gender identity has kind of now been parallel, because as I've gotten comfortable with who I am as a woman, I've kind of come into my power
Yeah,
spiritually,
yeah,
So,
you're more connected with within now than never before.
oh yeah, what
Because
like
because
my
when you say, and when you say this is who I am,
oh yeah,
no, you don't say this is who I am inside here. So this is who I am in here.
oh
This is who I am outside, and I'm gonna be who I am every. Oh my God, this is beautiful. I could spoil over, but I'm gonna be who I am everywhere right now. Doesn't
yeah,
matter what.
yeah, and I
Then
think
you free yourself for something that we created so many things. I mean, we created this box, different box that we go there inside anytime we feel, to protect ourselves. But when you say, this is who I am here, and this is who I'm going to be out there as well, and everywhere, it doesn't matter what, anybody say, but this is who I am, because the only thing that I care, I'm accepted, loved by the divine, by the spirit, by God,
yeah,
just the way I am. Why I'm gonna worry about what anyone is going to say, or the way anyone is going to look at me?
yeah,
This is who I am. This is
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. Well, and I think that part of me, um, coming to this like acceptance. So the word acceptance is being
Yeah.
channeled right now, and so like I feel through this last heartbreak, the most recent heartbreak, I've come to accept myself fully as the woman that I am, and as the spiritual being in all of its forms, Nando. Because I have all these gifts that I have had also been pushing, much like my gender, right? Much like oh, uh, like this realization, like when I was 33 sitting with my clients, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm trans, right? And all of a sudden, over the last 5 months, I'm like, I have all these spiritual gifts, and yes, I do. Yes, I do, and more. And that's the thing. It's like, oh no, I'm very powerful in that way, and I'm not afraid to say it. I just, but it's not to boast anything, because I don't.
Yeah.
I was with a friend, and my friend was like, "Oh, speaking of my spiritual gifts, he was saying, "Oh, do you want to let all of that in? Aren't you afraid?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Letting anything in? It's just is. It just is. I'm not letting anything. I'm not letting any spirits in. I'm not summoning anything. It's I see certain things, and things are. And so I either see it, claim it, or I just waste my time, and I don't and I miss out on a blessing, and being a blessing to someone else. And like I spent some time meditating before agreeing to speak with you, because I needed the words to be articulated, Nando, because otherwise I would come across as like Miss Know It All, or oh, who does she think she is? And at the end of the day, I don't care how many likes I get on YouTube or on TikTok. It's about like maybe one person will hear, and they'll say thank you. Oh my goodness, me too. And then
I love my friend. But Adriana, I feel like I feel that I know you forever, my friend, and I know you for such a short time. But not for one Second, we have been talking for 1 hour and 30 minutes right now.
Yeah. Oh
Not
my
for
God.
1 second, my friend, not for 1 second. Never felt, because I can feel people's energies, but I never felt any judgment coming from you, my friend, to anyone from your past, my friend. And for anyone, for your family, I mean, I'm talking about everyone till who have in your life till today. I'm not going to ask how old you are. But anyway, I did see no judgment. The only thing that I can see in you is growth. I can see the connection that you have with God right now more stronger than ever before. Because since you were little, the first time that you asked to go to altar to give your life to accept Jesus as your Savior, and now, like I said before, they say, I love you just the way you are. But it
Mhm.
took a while for you to connect with that. But now you are connected 100%, because we don't need to explain anything to God every single day. We don't need to explain anything even when you die as well to anyone up there, because it's not judgment for anyone. We are the one here as a human and believes in the creators all this type of judgment. But only thing that I saw coming for you was love, was growth. Yeah, you went through a lot of things. I went through to a lot of things. Everyone's going through to something in this life, but it's so
Yeah.
important for everyone to understand we all can overcome anything. But it's two ways you can overcome things. We can overcome through love, or you can overcome through hatiness. So you gotta choose what you want. So I
Absolutely.
chose, when I was young, hatiness. But the day that allowed me, I start looking for answers. Say, this is not the way I want to live for the rest of my life. Chose love. That's when everything changed my life, like you did as well. That's in the two ways, or you choose love or you choose hatred.
Yeah, I agree.
When
It's
you
the only
choose
way.
love, you connect. Like I said, is one love is one connection. There's only one connection. That's it.
Yeah.
We connect, with source out there.
Hmm.
That's when everything's happening. That's when the healing takes place, when you connect with unconditional love, with unconditional forgiveness. That's something that I'm working every single day to constant. Uh, 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 Whatever happened with me, with whoever can be, say something, do something for me, forgive them unconditionally. If I love them unconditionally as well. That's something I work to myself, when I work someone, I say this. You cannot exclude anyone in your life. Whatever that you decide to work in your life, you cannot say, oh, I don't want to talk about this person, or I don't want to work to forgive the person. Oh, I don't want to. You gotta bring every single one, every single situation. That's the called the inner work. A lot of people do the inner work, but I say, "Oh, I'm doing my inner work," but that person, I'm not gonna do that. No, that's not inner work. Oh, I'm working to forgive this right now. Oh, but that one, I'm not gonna forgive. You know what? You better don't do nothing, or
Yeah.
you do the way you're supposed to do, or don't do nothing. That's something they work with me. And they said, Nando, you have to forgive every single one. But they talked to me before, a long time ago. Not just only forgive them, Nando, but you need to love them as well.
Yeah.
Love every single one. Do not discriminate anyone. Like when I pray every morning. I always pray. But I pray for every single person, every life species in this planet. They told, don't discriminate anyone. Anything good that you're going to do for someone, you cannot discriminate anyone. You cannot just pray for only this type of people. You discriminate the others. Better don't pray for anyone. Once again,
Mm.
you cannot forgive just few people. You don't forgive the others. You better don't
Yeah.
forgive anyone. It doesn't work that way. Or you do the whole thing, or you don't do nothing. If you wanna, if you want to connect, with love, if you want to connect to God, this is the only way. That's not our other way. It's not 10% here, 50% there, 6% there, 40% here. No, it need to be 100% everywhere. Do you think it was an easy journey for me? It was a easy path that I have to walk, to learn all these things, to going through all these things, and even for her as well. No, my friend, we are just sharing here a little bit about the story. But if you go so deep in here, you're gonna, oh, you gotta put your grab your popcorn, you know what I mean? Some more water to drink. Or this conversation is gonna be for maybe for a week, a month or more. No, it's a lot in the whole life. It's a lot in my lives. It's a lot in everyone's life. But every single person in this planet, they make the decision to work, to do the inner work. No, like I said, you have to do the whole thing, embrace the whole thing. No, if they are talk to me right now, for anyone maybe now has a child right now, you know what I mean, they already talk to you, say, mom, I'm a girl, but I don't like boys. Mom, I'm a boy, but I don't like girls. Embrace them like God, is being embraced. Embrace them, be there for them, be there for them 100%. Help them to go through this journey, because you're not just only help them, you are helping yourself as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you are discriminate them, you are discriminate yourself as well. If you are judge them, you are judge yourself as well.
Mm-hmm.
You are telling whoever you believe, whoever you go, you know what I mean. I have two faces. How can I love so many other people if I don't love my own son, my own daughter? How can I go to a jail and I pray for someone over there, pray with them, and I don't accept my own daughter, my own son? Tell me, what the hell is that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work this way. I never said this to anyone. It's this been coming here now. The Spirit asked me to say those things. If you we want to connect with love, this is the way. No discrimination, no judgment with anyone. We are here to love and help, one another without judgment, without discrimination. Oh, that was deep.
Yeah. Thank you for your words. Wow. Well, this has been amazing. I really enjoy speaking with you.
Yeah, but I don't know if you have something that's, maybe you feel guided to say, Adriana, related to anything, my friend. If you feel guided to say something, maybe, whatever it is.
Um, well, one of the things that I wrote this morning was related to, you know, I was sold the idea, I wrote it down. I was sold the idea that I didn't have the power or the authority that's happened to my spiritual gifts. And I was robbed as a result of that. The ancestral gifts that I was perhaps that were perhaps bestowed upon me, because I think that we're talking about like and past lives or ancestral lineage. I think that these come from like my ancestors, and as a result of my journey, I have come home to a sense of understanding and knowing that this is exactly within my power and capacity to exercise all of my gifts as they come online. I'm able to do so within my current spiritual beliefs. I don't have to be anywhere else spiritually. I can stay within and teach others who are within my spiritual belief system that they can tap into their sense of source or God or Holy Spirit to practice and believe that they are within their authority to also claim their spiritual place within their faith. And in doing so, they're able to also have a seat at the table. And I feel like uh, my sense of purpose, Nando, has been to be of help to anybody out there who has struggled with claiming their sense of spirit, and that they can absolutely do so. I am a therapist. I offer psychotherapy, but I also feel called to have other types of conversations with people that will bring them in alignment to spirit in some other way that is helpful to them. And the two don't have to be, mutually exclusive. They can be integrated in a very healthy way. And I feel like the people who have worked with me in the past have benefited from, my ability to already do this. But now I'm almost coming out of the closet as
Yeah.
someone who is in many way a spiritualist, and I'm very proud of that. And I do want people who see something like this or my TikToks or whatever to understand that about me, because that is a huge gift. And I would want them to also want to engage in that conversation with me at whatever capacity they want to, because that is an untapped resource that many people out there have at their own capacity. And I just think that more and more people are going to awaken to things that they have not been tapped into, that once they do, they're going to be like, oh wow, I've just been missing out on such beauty. Um, and hopefully there are going to be people like us that are going to be waiting for them, Nando, and they're going to be reaching out to us.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because I was listening to you. This came to me. They say, no, I heard that before. Everything that you are looking for is in the other side of your fears. That's something that is so important for us. To work as well. To with the fears. The fears, what people is going to think about us. Fear about what people is going to say about us, about our parents. And when we decide, to tell them, this is who I am. I'm not here to tell anyone what to do or not to do, what to say or not to say. One thing that if I may suggest, Jace, there's something that I do to myself a lot. I tell friends or when I work to clients, if you don't know uh, how to do something or how to explain something or how to resolve something, ask for help. It doesn't matter what you believe. You don't need to say God or universe. Just say, I need the help over here. I'll open my heart right now. I may ask for help. I may ask for guides and assistance. How I can talking about this?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So it comes to you, because it's something that I'm doing for so long, so many years in my life. It's been helping me a lot. Like even with my son's mother, so many times I ask, help me, help me. She wants to talk to me about something, or I'm gonna talk to her about something. Help me, during the conversation. So there, if not for 1 second, I connect with my ego. You know, I just want to make sure that all my words, is going to come from a place of love, not from a place of judgment, not from a place of fear. Because now we're not gonna go deep in this conversation of fear, but fear has, is something, it start when you're a babe. We born so innocent, but it's another conversation for another time. But it's so important for us to understand, and I mean, that we are not here in this planet, in this life. We do not choose this incarnation to live it for the rest of the lives inside of the closet,
yeah,
afraid to come out, with fear of something. We are in 2024. Yes, we still face some discrimination, some judgment for society, for so many different beliefs. But this is the best time, my God. Don't waste your life. Stay inside the closet and don't waste your life over there, my friend.
yeah.
Open up, go out there, and just say, this is who I am.
Great.
There's nothing wrong to say, this is who I am. There's nothing against the law. It's not against the human law. It's not against the universal law to say, this is who I am. This is what I like. I'm a man, but I like another man. I'm a woman, but I like another woman. This is who I am. It's nothing, once again, against the human laws or against the universal laws. They say you cannot say this, you cannot live with someone. No, it's not nothing, nothing, nothing. I think this is a very important time. Now, there's something that like I said, I shared some story when I was young, and I saw when I was young in Brazil, I saw so many people, even here in America as well. They go through. I see. I don't watch news, but once in a while, a young child, for teenage, teenage, commit a suicide, not only in America, so many countries, because of the discrimination, because the parents, push them to the side, because the parents, stop love them. They go through so much psychology. They go through so much. Lot of so many. I don't say just teenagers, even adults. If you're gonna do some research, you look for the number how many people commit suicide because they are afraid to come out. They was afraid because the rejection they live for the parents, for society. I mean, the number is pretty big. Unfortunately, the news don't put all this number out there. But if you do a research, you're gonna say, wow, it's a lot of people. They kill themselves. So just think about a little bit. If have a child right now, doesn't matter what age, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, whatever. If you see some things different to them, go talk to them, ask questions. No questions to judge them. The question is to with love now. See them with the eyes of love. Thank you. He asked me to say, see them with the eyes of love and love them just the way God's love you and everyone else. And I help them. Like she was in Philadelphia, right? You had the place over there that you went, right? A lot of people helped over there, right? Was it Philadelphia that you said?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Philadelphia, right? So there's places out there, they can help you if you don't know how to deal with your child.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I help them, my God. Help them. That's the my final message. I have a 7 years old son. He talked to me. He has a girlfriend. The other day he told me he have four girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. But he's only 7. So tomorrow something. If I see something, I'm open, my friend. I love my son. Doesn't matter what. I love my son. Doesn't matter what. But this is I'm so grateful, thankful. I'm so deeply grateful, thankful, Adriana, that you took the time here today, you know what I mean, and you took a step of faith as well, you know what I mean, and I totally believe 100%, my friend. This is gonna be another stone that you put out there in front of for you so you can step and I mean to grow more and more and more, my friend. You are so beautiful. I am so grateful, thankful. I'm so honored to connect with you at this time in
Yes.
this life, my friend. And I'm look forward, I mean, to do more things with you. I don't know. I think you talked about this a little bit before, but I know we are together right now for a reason. No, there's a reason why over 2 months ago they asked me to create this YouTube channel. I didn't know. I didn't ask questions. No one showed me anything, But then we are here talking today, my friend. Like I had some other people that I talked to before. And more is gonna come as well with different stories, to help. But one thing that I like to say, we are helping ourselves as well. I learned a lot today here, and you learned a lot today as well. I know that I healed some things inside myself today, and you healed some other things inside yourself today, because when you share stories now, when we take a step of faith, to do something that we are guided by the Spirit to do, but we still connect a little bit some fear. But when you take a step of faith and do it, and then after that say, oh, now I understand why they guided me to do this, why they guided me to create this channel, Why they got me to have this conversation with you today? Oh, now I understand. I have some thoughts in my mind before, but now I understand, and I'm so grateful, thankful that I did. Everything has a reason.
Yeah,
Every single thing that we do, we always teaching something and learning something.
absolutely. Yeah. Well, I really appreciate your time. This has been great. And like I said to you before, when you invited me to do this, there's, divine purpose in all of this. And I am really appreciative. This was a big step for me, but I was preparing for it because I was preparing for an invitation by someone. I had been guided, I'd been told that there was someone who was going to be inviting me to participate in something. So I was already emotionally preparing myself for this. And so when your invitation came up, I was like, oh my goodness, I think this is it. So yeah, and I'm really honored, and I hope that this conversation will land on ears that will be a benefit and help and support in some significant way to someone. And so, thank you for facilitating this conversation. Very
Thank you as well. But the prayer that you just said right now was the exact is was a, I use different words, but was the prayer that I, before I start record that I pray that I ask once again the intention of this channel, these conversations, is just to help people, just to help people to be more open, and to help people to connect with the right source,
yes,
to connect with God, straight to God. So many things that are said here today, guys. I never said to anyone before. It came today for this moment, for this conversation. My next conversation, something else is gonna come because when I talking to people, I'm channeling things as well. And I'm receiving messages, and to say, to the moms, like you received as well. But anyway, guys, now listen, feel free to make any comments below about this message today. Maybe if you know someone that this message, this conversation, but it's a message as well, is
message.
going to help them. Please send this video to them. Okay. I bless everyone with infinite abundance, and I'm sending lots of light, love, healing energy for everyone. I love you all. Thank you for loving me. Just stay there, Adriana. Don't go anywhere. Just stay there for more. Let me finish here this one second, really.